Hey everybody, I want to talk about depressions and the rest of the business cycle features in the political and economics changes mod. Now, these things are tricky to handle because they require some knowledge of economics. And hi, I'm the economist play, so it's up to me to explain these things. So I'm happy to do so. Now, we need to keep in mind that there is a thing called the business cycle. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. You have expansion, peak, recession, trough, recovery, which leads to expansion, peak, recession, trough, so on. We're going to hit peaks of activity, and they're called peaks because after them comes the recession. You don't have a peak when you're still growing. You have a peak when your growing has leveled off, and then there's a decline afterward. And these are natural things. We can't really avoid having recessions or expansion periods, but we can avoid extremes. Here's how we know. When this game starts, most countries are on free banking or mercantile banking, which means there's very little regulation of the banking system in that country. It's literally a free-for-all. Now, during that time period, banks could issue their own currencies, and they were responsible for backing them up. And they would, there was on their honor to do it. Now, if a bank decided to issue infinite currency, then it could do so, but it would eventually be seen that there's so much of this currency around, we don't want a lot of it, and it doesn't really convert, and it would lead to less value on the currency. So that would lead to some people trying to be more responsible with their banks. But there are always some irresponsible lenders, particularly in the real estate field, who would just go, wee! And when they couldn't back up their deposits, they went bankrupt and said, our currency is now worthless. Time to move on and hit the trails and get out of here before somebody comes in to kill us. All right, so that's the free banking period. And the free banking period is typified by very big swings up and very deep swings down. Your economic booms are going to be incredible. They're going to be things of amazement. But your depressions are going to be deep and long and painful. So, around the mid-1800s, some economists are starting to ask questions about how can we reduce the depth of the trough, and they realize it would also mean reducing the spike of the growth. Now, most people want to say, oh, can't we just grow and then dip a little bit and then grow again? No, you can't. You can grow and dip a little bit and grow again if your growth is a sort of a calm one. You can't swing up, dip a little bit down, and then swing up again. No, it doesn't work like that. So they're looking at ways that they could maybe restrict the economy in some way to be more fiscally responsible. We see gold standards and silver standards and gold and silver standards and various convertibility regimes are emerging during this time period, and knowledge of the business cycle is emerging. So that's why it takes me up until about 1868 before I can even start talking about this with Italy, because if we take a look at the laws, let's go down here to central banking. Italy starts off with free banking. And with free banking, I can't put the brakes on anything. There's no central bank that can say we're going to control interest rates. They're just all over the place. Next of all, one thing that Italy did have going for it was it had interventionism. This is the idea that the government should intervene in the economy somewhat. The same thing could be said for traditionalism, agrarianism, corporatism, extraction economy, cooperative ownership, a command economy. All of these, to one extent or another, involve government control of economic aspects. The one that says get the government out and make it stay out is laissez-faire. Now, in the regular Victoria 3 game, it's considered an OP strategy to go laissez-faire, free trade, and just ride it on out, because all your capitalists are going to build all kinds of cool stuff and it's going to be amazing. However, when we put business cycles in, you can no longer have that line go up all the way up, really straight, sharp shot up all the time, every time. That's just unrealistic. That's something I bemoaned in the original release of the game. There are no business cycles. It's just line go up and But with this part of the mod. With the political and economic changes mod, you go laissez-faire and free trade and just let it rip. That's fine. Your line will go up and it will go down and it will go up and it will go down. And you can get just yanked back and forth with very severe consequences all through those early 1800s. And you're going to be begging for it to stop. So what happens is you've got to pass laws that get you a central bank. How do we do that? Well, if we go over to technology and we go to society, that's where these live. And these are important ones. We have central banking is a very important one because it unlocks the central bank building. If you don't get this level 2 tech central banking, you don't get a central bank. You can't. You could have central banking, but then you still have to pass the law that allows you to have a central bank. And there was a huge debate in the United States about whether or not there should be a central bank. They had the idea of central banking from about 1820 to about 1836, but Andrew Jackson said, let's get rid of the national bank, go back to free banking. And after they did that, the United States experienced one of the worst depressions it had after the Panic of 1837, because it swung up and it swung down, mostly on land speculation. And the United States had these deep, severe recessions and depressions up until the end of the Long Depression, around 1893. And that's when discussion began again about let's get something in place to act as a backstop. And eventually, especially after I think the Panic of 1907 was when we really said, okay, we almost lost everything. We have got to have a central bank, because without it, the free banking is just going to go insane. Yes, people say, oh, we are going to act in our own best interests, and those will be the best interests of the country. That which serves our bank best will serve you best. And it turned out, no, they would find ways to get out of it and run for Brazil and just yeek. There had to be something like a referee that would run the bank. And this is where the Federal Reserve System of the United States started to appear. But that's like 1913. In the game, I know the nation I'm playing is going to go through these business cycles, and I want to be a responsible economist, a macroeconomist. I'm going to pass central banking. But that only gives me central banks level 1. With a level 1 central bank in this game, I can devalue my currency. But I also get some other options during economic events. The real fun starts when we get to mutual funds, a level 3 technology. So yeah, they come in around the 1865 to 1875 range. And this gives me +1 central bank investment. And as soon as I discovered that, I went into my institutions and I went to my central bank and I clicked on level 2. And that is now given me options about interest rates. And if I come over here, I look at minting and I got to go, oh, I got to get a central bank level 3. And I also have to get to fiat currency. I'm on hard currency right now, but to get to fiat currency, I need more social tax. You see where this is going. The central banking aspect of this game is something that's going to come out in the mid to late game. You're going to have, if you play with this mod, you're going to have recessions and depressions, just like you're going to have economic boom activity and golden ages or gilded ages, âge d'or. But you're going to have those big swings until you get central banking in place. And when you have central banking in place at least level 2, that's when you're going to control interest rates and have some say on how this economy is going to be expanding or contracting. All right. So I've got 3 possible actions. I've just gotten my level 2, and I can click on any one of these. Well, devaluing currency, I don't see this as a good option. I will pick this if it's between this or bankruptcy. I'd rather devalue my currency before I go bankrupt. I'm not yet there. I've got plenty of dry powder here. If I look at my credit limit, I've only borrowed $4 million out of $44 million. I've got room for my debt to grow. I'm okay. So, but devaluing my currency means that interest rates go down. I can pay back my debt with money that's worth less than what I have. That's why this gives a huge bonus. It's like, whoa, I get 3, 6, 44000. Wow. 3.6 million just like that? Yeah, and it's going to pay off 3.6 million of my debt, which would mean I'm very much lower in debt. My interest goes down and I might be able to make some payments better. Okay. But again, I don't need to do that right now. I'm not in that bad of a situation. I can impact my interest rates. Now, if I increase interest rates, what this will do is it will, the little tooltip says reduce market volatility and confidence. If I decrease my interest rate, it will increase market volatility and confidence. And we can see those two variables up there, market volatility and market confidence. And it says I'm in an economic bust right now. That's because I'm in a Great Depression. All right. So market volatility is a measure of how wild that market's going to swing. And if we increase interest rates, we decrease the volatility. That means we reduce how far it can swing in one direction or the other. That means growth will be mitigated, but also recessions will be mitigated. We will take those peaks and troughs and make them shallower. And that way we have a smoother overall upward growth pattern. Because even though, yes, we're going up and down, there is a general upward trend if we average things out over time. You can have a huge swing up and a huge swing down, a huge swing up, a huge swing down, or you could have just gradual growth. And both these trends, or both of these are described by the trend line that says, hey, gradual growth upward over time. The catch being that if you reduce the depth of those peaks and troughs, you're going to have that smoother growth curve, and you're going to have more predictable growth. Steadier growth. You can make better plans over time because you know that the interest rates are going to be within this margin and prices will be within this margin and so on. During this time period, during free banking, prices are swinging wildly. Even though they're on a gold standard, the price swings are just insane because being on a gold standard means you have a fixed amount of money and you may have a variable amount of people wanting to use that money and a variable amount of goods and services that are competing for that money to pay for them. And if you don't have enough money, prices go up or down or whatever. If you have too much money, it's better to have, this is something that both John Maynard Keynes and then later Milton Friedman said with his monetary policy. It looks like it's better to have a slowly increasing money supply over time so that, yes, you do have a small rate of inflation over time, but it reduces the price swings. It makes it where you can plan things better. And I know people are, I don't like inflation at all. I don't like it either, but having a small amount of inflation is better than having a massive rug pulled out from underneath you and then you're living under a bridge with no van or, So increasing interest rates will tamp it down. However, we're in depression times. I want to boost both confidence and volatility. Why? Well, because we're in a depression, if we have volatility, it's going to go in one direction, up. We're at a trough. We can't get much lower than we are now. So if we have a deep swing down, it's going to go bump. Okay. If we have a big swing up, it's going to go woo. Oh, yeah. I want to boost volatility. And by boosting confidence, I'm going to get it to where this market confidence number goes up higher. And that means people think, hey, we're about to recover. Things are going to get better. Let's start investing now. Now is the time to buy low. We're going to sell high later, but now is the time to buy low. There's bargains out there to be had. We could get things cheaply and start growing. This is a good time to invest. That's why you come out of the trough. But the catch is, there are some times where that trough could be so bad and so deflationary and so contractionary that it just kept getting smaller and smaller. And we realized that the government's going to have to do something to bring us out of that. And that's where subsidies can come into play. But that's a separate issue. Right now, I want to decrease my interest rate. I click here. Now I can't do it for a while, but if I unpause, I'm going to see these there we go. And I've got pan-nationalism. Great. I'll deal with that in a minute. But my volatility has increased. Okay. But my confidence is also higher. Aha. Now we're going to start recovering. – This is a good thing. Once we get out of the depression, I'm going to look at increasing those interest rates. I'm going to look at reducing my confidence, but also reducing my volatility. Once I get my bank in place and I start watching these interest rates, and if I maintain discipline with them, I can be smooth with my business cycles. Okay, so if you're in depression, decrease interest rates. If you're out of a depression and things are looking great and wonderful, when your market confidence is about 0.3 or more, you can increase those interest rates, because increasing the interest rate will mess with us by 0.25 of a point, or your 0.25. So right now, if I increase the interest rate, my market confidence will go back to negative. But if I boost it, but if it's like 0.3 and I drop my confidence and it goes down to 0.05, I'm okay. I'm fine. It's still positive. Now, with this, there are also some power block things you can do. The PEC mod adds the financial stability chain. And if I take a look at financial stability, go all the way to starting with level 1, I've got plus 0.5 market confidence. I'm playing with PEC. I'm going to click on that. This is a very important one to have. And since I've got the one that messes with my power blocks and gives me 8 slots, there's no question. I'm always going to have it. You cut me down to 4 slots, no question. I'm going to have that. If I have the PEC mod, I'm going to have financial stability, because I know how important financial stability is. I know how important market confidence is. When I get the events I will get events here that'll say, do you want to support large business or small business? I read them. Which one gives me more market confidence? The large business one. If we're getting low on confidence, we're going to promote that large business, even if it means volatility gets higher. Because ultimately, to me, the most important variable of the two is market confidence. Volatility is going to happen. And there's some other things that come into play, like how much am I building? How much is being built in my economy? The more that's getting built, the more volatility I have. So again, there's the strategy in vanilla where it's like, yeah, now that you're on laissez-faire and you've got free trade, max out your construction everywhere you are and just build everything. And then your line go up. But here, if you start building everything, your volatility gets maxed out. And if you don't have some kind of brakes on your car, it's going to crash into the wall of depression. Ow, my hand. Now, with financial stability, level 2, I get faster depression recovery. Yes, I want that. And it also doubles market volatility drift to 0. So that means there's already a drift to 0 in market volatility over time. This increases it. This makes it so that way things that goose volatility or that depress volatility will go to 0 faster. And that means we have a steadier economy. And if I get financial stability level 3, I get one more company, and my central bank gives me 5% prestige. Okay, so really, to me, the biggest benefits are at level 2. But yeah, having another company is nice, and getting some prestige off of my central bank is really nice. But I want this one here because it's going to increase my stability by increasing my market confidence. And if I look at the things here, there is a trend to 0 over time. So if I have it boosted way up, it's going to trend downward. If it's boosted way down, it's going to trend upward. And there's also some other things based on business cycles and stuff. I have very low debt, so that keeps my confidence high. I have loyalists minus radicals. Oops, what do my radicals look like? Ooh, yikes. Okay, if I can do something to get rid of the radicals relative to loyalists, then I'll do better there. I've got high legitimacy. I could probably do with a better banking system law. My tax rates are medium. Now, if I drop them, it's going to increase confidence. If I raise them, it's going to decrease confidence. And these are the consumption tax rates. So since I'm also playing with the tax module from Sasko's mod set, I kind of get away with a little bit here. But still, consumption taxes are going to impact my confidence. I have low cash reserves because of my depression. They need to become more profitable, and then they're going to generate more cash, and that'll generate more confidence. We got this change from market volatility. My interest rate is giving a boost, and zero point 0.5 from events. That's my central bank doing its thing there. Okay, now if we look at the market volatility, what changes there? Well, it's trending to zero. I've got my particular banking system law. I get a lot of extra volatility from my construction sector building levels and from my banking sector building levels. And industrial building minus agricultural buildings. So as you urbanize, your volatility will increase. Just be ready for it. Just be ready for it. And I have high GDP growth. That's going to increase volatility. But I want high GDP growth. I'm in a depression. I've got to get my way out of it. I want this volatility right now. I'll try to reduce it later on by increasing my interest rates once this is going good. Because right now I got plus 0.5 from interest rates. So once I start increasing interest rates, that number will come down. Thank goodness. And generally in a depression, I'm going to decrease interest rates until I can't decrease them anymore. And then when I get out of it, I'm going to work on increasing interest rates until I can't increase them anymore. And then we go back into a recession. And then I start decreasing interest rates again to smooth things out. Now, if I look at my depression bar here, I can get stimulus spending if I research macroeconomics. That is a level 5 tech. Hello, late game. Love to have you there. But I don't have it, so I can't do it. But yeah, otherwise, if I could do that, that gives me a real big boost to market confidence. Does reduce bureaucracy and some other things, and I have extra payments, but it will boost the recovery progress line by 10, 5, 3, or 1. All right, where am I at right now? I'm at 45.5%. When I started my depression, I was adding 0.2 per month because, well, we've got the baseline increase, laws, market confidence, GDP growth, and Great Depression modifier. At the very beginning of the Great Depression, there's a huge modifier down. My GDP was crashing. Modifier go down. Market confidence in the toilet. Market modifier go down. It was just Once I get to level 2 on my financial stability, then I'll have another modifier that'll help me go back up some more. But right now, you can see I'm close to halfway through my depression, and we're having higher growth. That helps me recover, and I've got my baseline increase of 0.1. So if we can get market confidence to come up even more, then I'm going to increase by this 1.4 every month or more. And I need to get to 100 in order to come out of depression. So you can see if I increase by 0.5 every month, it will take 200 months to get out. 200 months is almost 2 decades. And that's like the long depression of 1873 to 1893, because that was 2 decades. And yeah, we had some highs and lows in there, but it was bad globally, really bad. But if I'm increasing by, say, 1.4 per month, well, this year I need about another 55, and this 1.4 goes into 55. I'm doing math. It's going to be less than 2 decades. Those of you with calculators may have already paused the video and figured it out. But, well, okay, I can do it this way. 12 times 1.4 is 12 plus 4.8, so that's 16.8. So it'll be about 3.5 years or so to get out of the depression at this growth rate. That's great. Now, other events will come along, and read them carefully, because if the event says you click here and you'll increase your depression progress by 3, like let's let a building go bankrupt. Well, if I let it go bankrupt, yeah, it's going to wipe out some industries, but I'll get 3 more points. That means I recover that much faster. But then there's other options, depending on my level of central banking and my overall economic policies, where I could maybe subsidize the industries. And yeah, the depression goes on a little bit longer, but I also don't have as severe a contraction in my economy. Well, let's see what happens as we go forward with this. And when these events come up, I'll just talk you through it. Oh, I should note, while we're waiting for those events to happen, is that if you are in a depression, then that does impact your ability to pass laws. It increases the speed of change. So if you're promoting those measures that will reduce the number of radicals, depression is actually a really good time. Don't waste your crisis. Pass those progressive laws. If you're trying to hold on to things and be authoritarian, well, that's your business. I won't try to steer you away. Oh, no, actually, I will pass those laws and become more progressive and get things going. So yeah, we just got our separate. We got our got off of state religion, and now we can go from religious schools to public schools. Yes, it's going to make the Catholic Church really mad, but it's also going to make a lot of other people really happy. So let's just keep doing that. When we get one of those events, I'll come back and let you know. All right, got one of those events. This is long bread lines in Campania. Now, the first choice is to say there's nothing we can do. We get a drop in the standard of living for that entire state, more radicals from political movements, and the lower strata becomes more radical. You know, it's limited to that state, but that's a pretty big state I've got. But if we implement emergency measures to give people bread, well, because we don't have laissez-faire, we could do this. If we had laissez-faire, this would not be an option. We don't have laissez-faire, so the government can get involved. We will spend $5,500 per week on the food, and I've got 58.1K per week extra here. I've even cut taxes slightly, so I also boosted my my confidence that way. So I can I can have that expenditure. I'm okay economically here. They'll get long bread lines, which still lowers the standard of living, but not by as much. See this -1, -0.5. This gives me 20% more radicals. This gives me 10% more. We reduce tax collection there, and instead of having 10% of the population becoming more radical, it's 3%. And we increase progress to recovery by 1. So if I come back over here, because I've got the money, there's nothing we can do. We've got money, and we're not going to be laissez-faire. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to go from 52.8 to 53.8. And it shaves another month off of our recovery time. We're going to be doing okay with that. All right. All right, we came back around. It's been a long time or a long enough time since we last did our interest rate change. We're now going to decrease them some more. We're still in a depression. Let's boost that confidence. We've gone from 0 to 1. Let's see if we can't get it up to 2 before too long. Let's unpause and look at it go. We're also going to keep our market volatility up. It is high, but this could help us swing out of our problems. Meanwhile, we have a rousing speech. That should ease the path to reform greatly, or let's boost the intelligentsia. Let's do that. Yeah. Help them along there, so that way they get back in power and we make less radicals and all that stuff there. But yeah, we're going to do this. And also, just so we're keeping track of things, I made an alliance with the North German Federation because as soon as my truce with the Austrians winds up, I'm going to come in and rip some stuff off of them. And I'm probably also going to have a war with the Ottoman Empire, which is why I'm trashing my relationship with them. Ooh, we got public schools. I'm going to work at getting some more education in my country, and we'll come back when we get some more depression-related events. All right, it's been a while again. My interest rate is not at a minimum. I can now decrease that interest rate further. This is going to spur my economy even further and faster. Let's cut that down. And it looks like we're not at a minimum right now, so I can make one more cut, it looks like, at least. And we look at depression. Let's now watch that. Oh, we're increasing by 1.5 per month. That's up by 1.4, so yeah, that makes it go faster in a year. And our confidence is doing really well right now. I like that. Oh, we've got long bread lines. Okay, again, do we do nothing or do we do something? I'm building right now, and I'm still making extra cash per week. We can afford $6,200. We'll be okay with that. And we'll increase our depression progress by a little bit more. I'm happy with that. All right, here's another depression event. I've got some bankruptcies here of my paper mills in Lombardy. All right, thousands could lose their jobs. Everybody wants the government to intervene, but other voices call for allowing them to fail to bring a healthier business environment down the line. Okay, if we leave them be, we get our progress recovery increased by 3. The petite bourgeoisie and trade unions both drop by 2. If I check my interest groups here, petite bourgeoisie is already at plus 14, and my labor unions are a marginalized group, so I'm not worried with that. If we assume the debt, because we don't have laissez-faire, traditionalism, or agrarianism, we could actually take over them. We subsidize the paper mills in Lombardy, and the people there, a small group of people, becomes more loyalist. Okay, we could give bankruptcy protection for the light industries because we have central banking along with those other things. That's going to give us a drop in bureaucracy and a drop in authority, and the capitalists become more radical. The landowners, which are marginalized, they become less approving, and the trade unions and petite bourgeoisie become more approving, and we get more loyalists. Okay, we could do that, but what's the last one? Issue bankruptcy protection for all enterprises. Oh, wow, even deeper cuts in bureaucracy and authority, but we get a lot more loyalists. The industrialists get mad at us. They drop by 4, and that means they go from 8 to 4, but they're a small group. Petite bourgeoisie don't change. And in Lombardy, we get more of the loyalists there. But, okay, so that's 10% drop in administration, so that'd be 480. Ooh, I don't know. I don't think I can go for all enterprises. I'll actually go with the leave it be. Let them go down because that's going to help me come out of this depression faster. And yeah, clonk, let it go. And we're increasing by almost 2 per month. And we're at 78 right now. Which does math. So that's like a year. We've got another year to go and we can be out of this depression. That's way faster than it was before. So yeah, we're doing that. Let them drop. That's my rationalization at this point in time. Hey, we're coming out of this depression. We've now got a event here that we click hurrah, and it increases our market confidence for 3 years. This is a good deal. Hurrah. Now, what if I was not having the central bank or anything like that? Well, in this depression, I would be at the mercy of a lot of things. It would be just tremendously bad. And I've seen people post like, yeah, I'm in laissez-faire and I've got free trade. And every time I hit depression, it's just like, I want to quit. Yeah, that's, well, I'm just going to say that there's a lot of propaganda involved in neoliberal economics. I say, oh yeah, it's always good all the time, every time. No, it's not. I can tell you, it's not good all the time, every time. You want some kind of control. You want some guardrails. And that's what a central bank and what an interventionist economic policy involve. This mod means you no longer just go and say, line go up. You're watching that line. You want it to go up. Okay, you can boom. Like I just discovered my steel frame buildings. And if I look over here, my automated construction is switching things over gradually. It's going from, those are iron frame, but here's some steel in Lazio, and here's some steel in Calabria and Apulia. So over time, it's going to go all the way over into steel frame buildings, and I'm going to see my potential growth take off when I have more construction. That's going to increase volatility, but I can also reduce things with my interest rates and make things work out better. Well, okay, my market confidence is up to 5, and it's the confidence amount has decreased somewhat because we're still having that trend to 0, but I'm still in a depression. I want to come out of it. I'm going to slash those interest rates even further, and now my interest rate is at a minimum. I've got this little check here that's been removed. I need to look towards getting out of the depression and raising interest rates gradually over time. Not all at once, gradually. And I want to communicate this. This is why in real life, central banking systems will communicate interest rate changes and give expectations so that way when they actually make the change, there's not a shock and a panic. It's like, okay, yeah, they indicated they were probably going to do this in their last meeting, and so this is no surprise. Economists want to be boring. Because when economics is boring, people are prosperous and stable. When economics is exciting, it could be terrible. So we're going to come out of this depression. We're going to be okay. Just a few more months, and then I'll click the event, or I'll get the event that says, yay, we're out of the depression. And we'll be able to wrap things up for this video, and then I can start bashing Austria and the Ottoman Empire. Okay, we're in the last month of depression here. I've at 98.3% on the progress bar, and that means within the month we'll be fine. Excuse me, I'm trying to pass protectionism. I've only got a 1% shot. I might pull out of this because the intelligentsia want me to do propertied women instead. I might go there. And even though I could attack other people just fine, I've been waiting this out because I don't want to go into a war when I'm in a depression. I don't want to be in a wag the dog situation. Ooh, 99.8, so close. And I'm also just waiting until I can attack Austria again. I could support Dalmatia, but I'd only get one province out of there, and then I'd have to do return state as a goal and get some infamy. I'd rather just fight them all at once while they're busy fighting Dalmatians. And then also going after the Ottoman Empire for Tunis and Tripolitania. Then someone's going to have to invade Egypt so we can build a Suez Canal around here. Anyway, 99.8, come on. Oh, we're dropped down to 1.4, so I had another month after that. I've got two options here on the business cycle. I could raise my interest rates, and I probably should right now because recovery's on the horizon. We completed it. We made the journal entry happen. We have a huzzah. Our population's become more loyal. And I get 10,000 progress on international exchange standards, which will help boost. If I get that tech, then I have more options available. It'll give me the fiat currency potentially, lead me towards macroeconomics, which gives me more options. So that's the secret for navigating depressions. You've got to go for central banking. You've got to go for interventionism. You've got to go for protectionism or mercantilism. If you have laissez-faire and free trade, you are going to grow your economy quickly. But with this mod, you're also going to crash it potentially. If you don't want those crashes, you're looking at government intervention to smooth out the cycles. If you don't have that, it'll go wild. And there's plenty of economists who've been able to point out over history that if you just let it run wild, it will go snap up and snap down and may go down and stay down. Keynes pointed it out. Minsky pointed it out. Irving Fisher pointed it out after he was saying, oh, no, leave it alone. And then when there was the big stock market crash, he realized, oh, no, I was wrong. And his research actually led into Minsky's research and helped support Keynes's research. So I got all this stuff going on. This is not just a Marxist interpretation of things. This is a rational look at the data interpretation of things. Neoliberalism has got some strong points, but it is not a religion. It is not going to be true all the time, every time. Understand the limitations of the market, embrace being able to limit it, or it's going to run all over you. You can choose how you want to play the game. But when I have political and economic changes, I go for stability, and that means I avoid laissez-faire and I avoid free trade. I'm avoiding free trade for other reasons as well. But let's go ahead and huzzah, and hope you enjoy what you're doing. Oh, I guess the one last thing I should check is, can I go ahead and drop the interest rate? Well, I think I could because we're about to come out of the bust, but the volatility is already pretty high, and we're going to recover. Let's just unpause that real quick there. Oh, wow, yeah. It went up from that event and it went down from my other things, so that's actually good. Our volatility has decreased and our confidence remains high. Okay, next chance I get, I'm dropping those interest rates. So I hope you have fun with this, and I hope you get into political and economic changes and play with the business cycles. They're hard to do, but once you get good at them, you understand what's expected. And wow, my market confidence is going way up. That's nice.